Another day of record highs for the market, led by frontline stocks. Reliance contributes to over 50% of the Nifty gains as the stock hits a fresh new high. Mid caps underperformed slightly to the large caps for the second day running.
Vedanta sees a large trade. Parent Vedanta Resources allows its banks to sell 2.6% equity, which will help reduce debt. CE Info Systems slumps after MapMy India promoter Rakesh Kumar Verma sells under 1% equity to fund philanthropy and venture investing, while STUM Industries promoters take the offer for sale route to offload 3.5% equity to meet the minimum shareholding norms.
Telecom stocks surge. The street is looking ahead to tariff hikes, telecom tariff hikes. Now with the conclusion, of course, of the spectrum auctions, the government, remember, has received bids of over 11,000 crores in what has been a fairly short auction. Hello and welcome to a fresh new edition of Markets Forward. It's been another fantastic day for our markets. Third day running, things are going great this week. This is the show where we aim to get you everything you need to know as we look forward to the next day, that is Thursday. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleague Rima Tendulkar. Hi.
Hi, new day, new high and a new winner. We'll talk more about it in the next 20 minutes with all the big news, key developments in Dalal Street, top corporate voices, the events. But first, the market action, right? Bulls are just in control and they're not letting go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, last week was looking like more consolidative kind of price action. But basically, because we were not there. But it's really broken out. We're making newer highs for both the Nifty and the Nifty Bank as well. So it's pretty good. Banks, nothing like what we saw yesterday, because yesterday was all banks. But today, of course, it was Reliance. So actually, if you want to account for the 140, 150 odd point move that we saw on the Nifty, it's about 80 points from Reliance, 80 index points from Reliance. And, between ICICI Bank and Bharti, it's the remaining. So that essentially is the Nifty gain for you if you really want to break it up. Not as if there were no other gainers, but this is the bulk of where the gains really came through from. Now, telecom was the clear sector leader. Now, when we talk about Reliance, there is a big telecom aspect there as well. And it's obviously very difficult to disaggregate, what was the dominating driver for the big move that we saw in Reliance. You could very well attribute it to these hopes that maybe tariffs will go up and that's beneficial for, other players, but also Jio. The other telecom stocks all did well. There was Bharti, Idea. As someone on WhatsApp made a joke, it's 18 now as an adult. Bharti Hexacom was a very big mover. So very strong gains there, and really the sector of the day. It was a vibrant screen with, even though mid caps and small caps, the indices, one was down a quarter, the other was up 0.25%. But it really masks, because if you sort the screen by volumes in terms of what went up and what went down, you'd struggle to really look at anything which went down significantly on volumes. It was all mostly up where the volume-led action was, and that really is what matters. Rima.
Well, I hope Vodafone Idea doesn't chime to that song, 18 Till I Die. Just talking about the breakout that we've seen on the frontline indices this week, the Nifty has gained about 1.6%. The mid-cap index is down 0.3%. So the benchmark indices have outperformed by nearly 2%, and banks have done a lot of the heavy lifting, outperforming with a 2.5% gain. Again, just to put that, the importance of Reliance Industries in numbers, that contribution plate will come up for you on your screen. Out of the Nifty gain of 147 points, 92 points, more than 50% is courtesy Reliance Industries. So single-handedly helping us push higher. The other gainers were ICICI Bank, Bharti Airtel, Ultratech Cement, Britannia. So across various sectors. On the way down, it was Apollo Hospital, top Nifty loser, 2.5% there. M&M, Bajaj Auto and Metals too retreated for the third day in a row. So Tata Steel was one of the stocks there. Add to that Hindalco, Vedanta, many more in the metals pack under pressure. But here's what we've lined up for you on our show today. We start with the top movers and shakers of the day with Hormuz. A plethora of block deals happened on Dalal Street. STUM Industries rallied following an Investec note. Telecom sector was buzzing after the spectrum auctions came to an end and there was no overbidding. So that's something the street liked. And we'll also delve into the key market events to watch out for in tomorrow's trade. But first up, as always, over to Hormuz. He's at the big wall with the top stock movers. Hormuz.
Well, consolidating when you are not around. Now they are making more decisive moves to celebrate your return. You can summarize the market that way. But indeed, and it has been the day of the heavyweights. It's been a week of the heavyweights to be very precise. And the sector of the day was cement, as a matter of fact. All the large cap, mid cap, almost every cement company had a very good day today. India Cements was up 14%. We spoke to Rakesh Arora earlier in the day. He also spoke about some consolidation to continue within the space. So all of these stocks seeing gains of anywhere between 2 to 4%, and India Cements the standout, 14% higher. What did not do well? Real estate, another day of profit booking in today's session as well. Almost all constituents of the real estate index ending lower. Prestige, Macrotech, Suntech, Brigade, all of them seeing losses of anywhere between 2 to 4%. The other sector where profit booking continued was metals, as Reema was highlighting. Vedanta on the back of the block deal, but NMDC, SAIL, Hindustan Zinc, Hindustan Copper, all of them ending the day with losses. And what also ended with losses in today's session was autos. Bharat Forge, M&M continues to see some selling pressure from higher levels. It continues to struggle there. Exide, Bajaj, TVS, all of them witnessing losses of anywhere between 1.5% to 2%. You mentioned Reliance Industries, a record high in today's session. Market cap now over 20.5 lakh crore, and almost 2/3 of the Nifty upside coming courtesy Reliance Industries. And the standout, the telecom space was buzzing, but the standout here was Bharti Hexacom. It ended off the highs of the day, but at one point was up almost 14% and is now already has doubled from its IPO price in just 2 months of listing. So all in all, a very good day for the benchmark indices. Back to you guys.
All right, Hormuz, thanks very much for that. So that's a comprehensive wrap out of the day's trading action. Mayuresh Joshi of William O'Neill is with us. And so is Shrikant Chauhan of Kotak Securities. Gentlemen, good to have both of you here. Just a quick word, Shrikant, first on the price action. How much more here? You know, we were just discussing on closing bell that FII long positions in index futures, you know, going into the election verdict was almost at an extreme. On the other side, they were short. Now it has actually swung to about 1.4 lakh contracts long. Sometimes they do give us an indication at extreme levels that maybe it's getting a little too much or maybe it's getting a little too pessimistic. What's your sense? Any such worries one should have, or do you think, you know, we've broken out new highs, so there's a long way to go?
Yeah, good evening, Prashant. Good evening, everyone. I think, the Nifty has broken its important crucial level, and if we see the overall trend of FIIs, then most of the time they try to ride the trend of the market. So if there is any major event which is where it is very difficult to predict that which side the market can go, most of the time in last 2 years we saw that they shorted Nifty heavily, and after the closure of the event we saw equal amount of buying in the FNO segment. So now we are very close to the peak point of their long positions. But when looking at the setup of the market, and this time the way there is interest in large cap companies like Reliance Industries or HDFC Bank, I am of the view that the broader pattern of the market is suggesting us that we are going to see further more upward activity in the market. Broadly based on technicals, based on extensions, because market's into new highs. So based on extensions, I'm expecting market to move towards 24,500. But in the short term, I'm going to say in last 3-4 days, if you see the pattern of the market, and it is overheated, it is very close to its crucial resistance levels. So we could see some correction. I think close to 23,700, the market is having excellent support. In case if we see the market is dropping to those levels, we should look for taking some long positions. But at this level, if there is a positional view, then just sit on it because the momentum is very high. The way we saw rally in the Reliance Industries, we could see such type of rally in other index heavyweights.
Okay, let's talk about talking about Reliance Industries. Let's bring in the other telecom players. In fact, all of them were higher in trade. So Bharti Airtel was up 3%. Vodafone Idea was higher in trade. Bharti Hexacom did well. Now there are two potential triggers. One, of course, the telecom auction got concluded today, and there was no overbidding. We've seen in the past that telecom auctions have negatively surprised with companies overpaying, accumulating a lot of spectrum. But this time, it was very, very muted. Just about a little more than 11,000 crore is what the government garnered versus 96,000 crore, which was an offer. So the companies have been very prudent in their spending. So that's point number one. Secondly, the The street is reading it as that now that the spectrum auction is concluded, then maybe the road is open for the companies to go ahead and increase their tariffs. So the street is working with a 15 to 20% kind of tariff increase. Yesterday, there was an ambit note which spoke about a 20% tariff increase. And after that, they're saying that once in 2 years, we will see a 12% tariff increase, which will sustain till 2030. IFL, a couple of weeks back, had spoken about a 15%, I think 20% tariff increase, and then about a 15% tariff increase in FY27. So basically, the street is now saying that the road is clear for tariff increases to take place. Now, a tariff increase pretty much directly flows through into the company's EBITDA because the costs are fixed. So according to some analysis, about 70 to 80% of the potential benefit of a tariff increase flows straight away to the EBITDA. The only loss is on account of down trading. Some of the customers might find the increased tariff expensive and therefore they may opt out or they may not move on to the higher tariff plan. So that's down trading. But other than that, it's a direct flow through into the EBITDA. Stocks have been doing well in anticipation of this tariff hike. Now let's see when it comes through. Shrikant, a quick word on you spoke about Reliance Industries and the technicals. What about a Bharti Airtel or a Vodafone Idea or even a Bharti Hexacom, which has seen a lot of price action?
Yeah, I think for Reliance Industries, it has broken this highest point of 3,020-25 after a period of almost 5-6 months. And it was consolidating within the range of 2,800 and 3,020. So while looking at its entire pattern, and most of the time in the past also, if you see the trend of last 10 years, then it rallies and then it consolidates. This time also the formation is more or less similar. Based on its technical formation, I can say that the stock is now heading for the levels of 3,200 in next few weeks or months. It will take time, but I think the way there is a momentum and buying interest in the market, we could see these levels in the near term also. But yes, broadly, it is heading for 3,200. Bharti, which is currently around 1450, 1460, there also we see that it is gradually moving towards the levels of 1550 or 1600. So it will take some time because the overall up move is gradual. But broadly, I think both these stocks are really showing a lot of strength.
Absolutely. And let's bring in Mayuresh as well. Mayuresh, a quick word here. Which is the best idea within telecom?
Afternoon, Prashant. So I think Bharti has undoubtedly done well. But if tariff hikes come through, as Rima mentioned, I think it's a direct flow through on EBITDA, and therefore cash flow improvement is going to be very, very evident for all of these players. And all these players are going to do it as and when it happens. And therefore, I think Airtel is best placed. Obviously, Jio through Reliance is also relatively better placed because of its presence. And both the RMS and SMS market share should get regained by both these leaders within the telecom pocket itself. Indus Tower, as I mentioned on the earlier show, is something that should also be on the watch list. A large part of the expectation is tenable increase in terms of earnings expectations and deleveraging of balance sheet. As tariff hikes takes place, there will be some element in terms of tower-related hikes as well that might come through in the system as well. And therefore, the industrial and the telecom part of the business for Indus Towers should relatively hold up. Deleveraging of balance sheet should also create an aid in terms of earnings growth. So Indus Towers can definitely be on a watch list. Airtel and Jio through Reliance can be.
Okay, all right. Stay with us. There's another sort of enduring kind of theme in the market has been sales, right? Promoter sales. Early investors sort of selling and raising money. And that continues. I mean, we had today Vedanta, Mapma India, which is CE Infosystems, Sanghi Industries, also action. Vamakshi is here with a quick wrap out. Vamakshi.
Well, absolutely. Promoter stake sale continues for most of these companies. First up is Vedanta. We did see nearly 4.8% equity change hands, and in fact, the spokesperson at Vedanta Resources said that Finsider International Company had yesterday evening accepted a proposal from one of its bankers to sell nearly 2.6% stake. Overall, the 4.8% equity changed hands, which the deal was valued at 7,968 odd crores. But the promoters bank is likely to have sold nearly 4,408 crores. Next stock is CE Infosystems, Mapma India. 1.1% equity changed hands. The equity was worth almost 142.6 crores at 2,332 per share. Rakesh Kumar Verma, who is the promoter of the company, has offloaded a part of his stake for philanthropy and investment in startups. But keep in mind that this is actually the first time that he has sold his stake in the company. But apart from that, Sanghi Industries is also in focus. notice promoters Ambuja Cement and Ravi Sanghi are looking to sell up to nearly 3.52% stake through OFS, and this is coming in at a floor price of 90 per share, which is at a steep discount to the current market price. At the floor price, the total OFS size is at 81.83 crores, and the move is largely aimed at meeting minimum shareholding norms.
Mayuresh, quick thoughts on Vedanta, 70% up move so far this year.
So I think a large part of the up move is now getting penciled in. Now the street will look forward for a core earnings delivery. Obviously, sub-segments of Vedanta through Hindustan Zinc as an example, where silver has been doing exceedingly well, can exceptionally do well. Copper prices were on a roll in the past few weeks and months as well. So that element of the business can also do well. And therefore, the kind of variety that Vedanta probably has through its operations can probably lend support. But I think there has to be consistency in terms of earnings delivery. And what it probably does in terms of deleveraging, as mentioned by the management, both in terms of core net debt coming down as well as any incremental activity from non-core asset sales as well. So I think everything will boil down to earnings at this juncture. LME prices are a little bit subdued as we speak. And therefore, I think the next few quarters outlook in terms of demand, in terms of LME price action and volume growth will be extremely critical. So I think a large part of the price action is largely done for Vedanta. I think the earnings will be the next re-rating for us.
Okay, all right, got that. You know, the other one that we want to focus on is a big mover, right? And almost every day you got one or two of these names which jump up on new coverage from sell-side analysts. And today, it was STUM Industries, was up over 10%. Investec, which is a broker, initiated sort of their own coverage on the stock. Mangalam is standing by with details. Mangalam, over to you.
Well, you know, STUM is a stock which has been buzzing around for a while, and Investec has written a note on them. They've initiated coverage with a buy rating and a target price of 23.62, which is a near 40% upside from current levels itself. What they're looking at as the past, and they're looking at the future as well. In the past, the company has actually grown faster than the industry. The last 5 years, revenue growth has compounded at around 15%, but they forecast 17% volume and 19% revenue growth over the next couple of years as well. The big optionality that the company has is the investment that they've made in the wood panel market, where they've invested about 550 crores, and they expect revenues of almost 400 to 500 crores by FY27. So that could be the big delta that would lead to EPS compounding by about 11% as well. Add to that the possibility of a potential strategic MNC investor could further aid their business, and this is something in line with what, you know, one of our colleagues, Yash, had reported earlier, that there could be some MNC looking at an investment in this company. Penciling in an 11% EPS growth, they've actually valued the company at 25 times FY26 earnings, which is a discount to the market leader to the tune of about 40-odd%. But even accounting for that, they see further 40% upside on this one.
All right, thanks very much, Mangalam, for that. So keep an eye out on this one. You know, we've had recent instances where stocks have run up sharply, 20-25% in some cases after initiations within a few trading sessions. We're in that kind of a market, right? Hungry for ideas, and that's working. Well, let's move on to the next story. And this is a CNBC TV18 exclusive. The government is considering seeking a 2-year exemption for 5 public sector banks to meet with the 25% minimum public float regulations. We learned from sources that stake sales worth nearly 9,000 crore rupees are likely on the cards for Bank of Maharashtra, Central Bank and UCO Bank. Sapna is joining in with details. Sapna, what are you picking up?
Well, Prashant, on expected lines, and this is something that we have been reporting on. So, I'm given to understand that for now, a further extension of the exemption that has been given to these 5 PSBs that you spoke about broadly. So that exemption is likely to be extended. The request has already gone in within the government. And as the rule has been, or rather as the practice has been, generally the exemption is for a 2-year period. So we are given to understand that probably that will come through. So this will give some breathing space to these 5 entities to meet the 25% public float that we've been talking about. And as you rightly pointed out, at least 3 of them have already lined up plans for the current financial year. So, maybe current year and, the next financial year, I mean, if you put these 2 time periods together, at least 3 to 4 of the 5 PSBs that remain to meet the public float norm, they'll be able to do so. So this is what the update is as of now. Prashant?
All right, Samna, thanks very much for that. And we'll keep track of some of these sort of banks that you mentioned where the share sales are already lined up. Shrikant, we spoke about Reliance, we spoke about the market, etc. But where is momentum likely to move into? I mean, Mayuresh was talking about metals earlier, maybe a little thanda right now, not exactly pick of the pack, but where is momentum going to move? What's price action telling you? Which are the areas to be in to look for opportunities?
Yeah, I think so. At this juncture, we need to be more and more stock specific instead of taking any specific view on any sector. I think a few stocks which have done really well in the past, now they are consolidating and they are reversing from their lows. In that, we like Gas Authority, which is currently around 213, 214 levels. There we are bullish. There we are expecting stock to move towards 250 again. We also like few pharma companies in that Natco as well as Biocon. They are doing really well. And today, Sun Pharma is also joining to the race. So while looking at their overall product pipeline, I think they are more or less similar. And the overall trend also is indicating us that they are going to do well based on their technical formation in next few weeks or months. So maybe pharma should be on the watch list. Oil and gas also should be on the radar.
No IT services with earnings around the corner?
See, I think IT stocks are not showing that much strength as we are seeing in other sectors. But yes, in that specifically, if I have to mention any one stock, then Tech Mahindra looks really strong. It is consistently forming high top, higher bottom formation. It has made a very strong base close to 1120, 1200 levels. And the overall formation is indicating us that it is going to surpass its previous high, which was somewhere close to 1600 levels. I think 1650 or 1700 levels. I think at this level, it's a buy. If there is any correction, then also we should look for adding. But we need to be more and more stock specific in this IT space. Tech Mahindra looks really strong bet.
Thank you, Mayuresh and Shrikant, for joining in. Get into a break on that note. We'll come back with the top corporate voices and the key market events to watch out for. Welcome back. You're watching Markets Forward, and now let's take you through the key takeaways from the top corporate voices on the channel. Bank of Maharashtra board has approved a capital raise, but they have not taken a call on the deal size or the timing of the fundraise. The management, though, has guided for an improvement in credit costs. They expect a 50 to 75 basis points fall, and they hope to maintain CASA over 50% this year. They also added in their interview that the cost-to-income ratio will remain below 40%.
Okay, the other one was Senco Gold. Stock's done extremely well this year. The company aims at between 18 to 20% growth in overall numbers in FY25. They'll plan to open between 10 to 12 company-owned stores and 8 to 10 franchise stores in this particular financial year. They told us that the first quarter, for which numbers will come out starting July, will be a little subdued due to increase in gold prices, election season, and of course shift in the wedding season as well. The company has also seen a shift from non-Senco customers bringing gold to exchange with Senco, which should show up in the numbers as well. Okay, well, that's Corporate Radar, Corporate Corner, and what companies told us. But it's an interesting list of events that we're going to watch out for tomorrow. some key stock-specific stuff. Mangalam is standing by with exactly that. Mangalam.
Absolutely. We'll watch out for a lot of events. The first one, of course, will be tomorrow is a Thursday, which implies that tomorrow will be both the Nifty and the F&O stocks expiry for the June series. That's not all going forward. We also will keep an eye on a bunch of stocks, a lot of annual general meetings. And in that, Raymond, a stock which has been moving a lot, the AGM tomorrow, where shareholders will decide upon the reappointment of Gautam Singhania on the board. Apart from that, we have AU Small Finance Bank, where the board is meeting to mull fundraising, so that stock also would be on our radar. Apart from that, the pharmaceutical industry itself, every year it congregates for the Global Pharmaceutical Quality Summit, and that starts tomorrow. So any sort of lines coming in from there, important players out there, we will keep an eye out on. And finally, in terms of global data, US will reveal its initial jobless claims and the GDP growth rate. So those are a couple of factors that we'll watch out for, which may perhaps, have an impact on US yields.
Last day for Z as well, right, Mangalam?
Last day for Z as well in the
futures and
F&O
option
itself.
segment. So, that's another one. But interesting list and lots to track. Thanks for that. We'll also take your leave. It's a wrap on this edition of Markets